Hello, I'm Charles Travis, and in 1985 I made my very first visit to Mendoza. And as a matter of fact, it was on that trip that I saw for the first time this property that we now call Quinta Betel. I was a pastor in Ohio, and one of my parishioners, Eric Rittberger, was the director of a Youth with a Mission school here in Mendoza, in fact in the town of Palmita, which is about 10 or 15 minutes away from here. And they were looking for a permanent place for their school. So Eric and I came out and looked at this property, and we both had the sense that God had a long time purpose for it. So we investigated that, and initially it was made a center or a school for Youth with a Mission. They were here about 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years, at which time they moved back to Buenos Aires, and we purchased this as a camp for churches. And we didn't know where it was going, what would happen from that point, but we knew God had a purpose in this. And then I teamed up with a longtime friend of mine, lifetime friend of mine, Dennis Henderson, who had been a missionary in New Guinea, and he caught the vision, and we together began to develop this property. And then in 1989, 88 or 89? 88, Mike Palmer came down, and he and his wife Cassie spent 8.5 years of hard labor. It was sort of like being sentenced to San Quentin, but they were sentenced to hard labor, and they took this property and really restored it or reclaimed it from the elements. And then when they were getting prepared to come back to the States, Mario and Marta Didimais, who are local Argentinians, they agreed to come out and resume the work, take over the work here, which they did. And it went along for a year or so, and it just seemed like we were stagnant in our vision. And at that point, I came down on a trip specifically to see whether or not we were just going to close the place or get new direction or whatever. And when I got off the plane, they picked me up. I came here, had been flying all night long, and it's you know, normally you want to get a shower, you want to take a rest, but before I could even unpack my bags, they said, please sit down, and we have something we want to share with you. Don't make any response until we're finished. And so I did, and they said, we believe God is leading us to transition from a camp to a children's home. And that was the day that Quinta Betel, a community of families, was birthed. And so that's where we are. We now are in the fourth generation, if you will, with we have another couple coming down with their 2 children. We have Everett and Marcy Conaway, and they will be coming down in June. And so we're seeing God's hand just in the evolution of Quinta Betel. So I'm going to let Dennis share some of his thoughts and ideas and impressions that he's had over the years. He's been the person who has come down with his carpentry skills, with that skill set that he brings that I don't have, that he saw things that I didn't see. And so then let's let him share, and then we'll have Mike share his adventures while he was here.
I'm Dennis Henderson, and my story goes all the way back to my Bible school days back in 1960s, quite a few years ago. Every Tuesday night in Bible school we had mission prayer meeting, and I was chose to pray for Argentina. So every Tuesday night for 4 years of college, I prayed for Argentina. And one day while I was praying, I thought, Lord, you know, I really would enjoy going down there sometime and just seeing what Argentina is all about. And after coming home from Papua New Guinea as a missionary, I met Dr. Travis in Chicago, and he said, I'm going to Argentina to look at a little farm that's for sale. Why don't you come along with me? And I just really felt drawn to come and to see what was here. And as Dr. Travis has said, we were able to purchase the property, and we began to see all of the areas that needed improvements. So every February for a number of years, I would come down here and spend 2 to 3, 4 weeks at a time just improving some of the facilities that are here, doing some ministry, but mostly doing carpentry work, trying to upgrade stuff, and even today, this very day, while we're doing that very same thing. So I enjoyed coming here for the pure adventure of it all, much less being able to, and also being able to be with Dr. Travis, and then meeting Mike and his wife and working with them has been just a real joy for me to get out of America during the cold months of January and February and come down here and be able to work and enjoy this lovely, lovely weather and eat grapes off the grapevine and see things going to fruition and being used by these children now. And it's just a real, real joy. That's my part.
Okay. I'm Mike Palmer, and my wife Cassie is at home in Oklahoma making a living for me, so I can come down here. But in about 1985, we felt the call, heard the call to go to the mission field. Didn't really know where or what we would do. We only knew it would be South America. And knowing very little about South America, we didn't know what we would do. But I went to Bible college, and my wife went to nursing school in preparation. And then one day, out of the blue, Dr. Travis shows up at a little church and did a little week-long revival, and we hit it off right away. And we were introduced by our pastor to Dr. Travis as the in-house missionaries. We went to Mexico and Haiti, and said we were looking forward to going into the mission field full-time. And Dr. Travis asked, where? And I said, South America. He said, South America? I've got this farm in Argentina. It's beautiful. And you can see the snow-capped mountains and all this stuff. And that was somewhat positive. So we made a decision to do that. We sold everything we had and finished our schooling and so on and moved down. And I had a vision. God had showed me a vision of a number of tables lined up, lined with children and families, and these families were being ministered to by this place with various outreaches, reaching out into the community, both near and far, and ministering to just dozens, even hundreds of people. And in my vision, I saw children running around everywhere, and I knew that's what God wanted. It took probably 10 years before I actually saw that vision with my own eyes, with my physical eyes. In fact, it was just a couple of years ago, I walked out that back door and looked out here at these very tables, and they were surrounded with kids and families and being fed. And there it was. It came real. And this is just the beginning. The Quinta Betel is growing. We're going to build an educational center with a computer lab and a library. We're going to double the dormitories. And I just can't think of a better way to serve God than to serve these little kids. Jesus said, even as you have done unto the least of these, my brethren, you've done unto me. And I believe that these kids are the least of these. And it's just a wonderful, exciting thing to be serving God. And I thank these two men here for their dedication, and it's just been a tremendous experience.